We are at De Le Cuona today in the Chelsea Harbour Design Centre in London, and I'm here with Bernie, who is the founder of De Le Cuona, and she's going to tell us all about her beautiful brand today. Hi, Bernie.
Hi.
So please tell us, how did you start? Where did you start? How did you come to produce all these amazing fabrics and colours and textures?
It's a long story, really. I started about 30 years ago, and I started when I first came to this country. I come from South Africa, and literally started on my own. I knew nothing at all about fabrics. I'd studied interior architecture, and I arrived in England, and I thought, what am I going to do? I wanted to produce beautiful things. It started really with me at home. And then I expanded a tiny bit until we arrived in the head office that we have now. So I wanted to create things that hadn't been created that could be quite exciting and adventurous and beautiful. So that's how it started. It didn't have to be fabric at all.
How did you start the whole process? Did you see a piece of fabric and thought, oh, I could do something like this, but better or different, or other colours? How did that sort of come about?
That's interesting, because before I came to England, I went to live in Brussels for a year. And living in Brussels is when I became aware of fabric. There was a tiny little shop, and they used to sell antique textiles. A lot of the textiles were linen. I didn't know that linen was different, particularly at that stage. But I saw this incredible cloth and the way that it took the colour. And I loved the fact that the colour didn't look harsh, because the fabrics were old. So they'd been washed in. And that really intrigued me. So that's how the love of linen started, and the idea of looking at fabrics. Then I went on a trip to India, and, the rest is history. I learnt what to do in India. I learnt how to weave. I learnt how special craftspeople are. And then made the big decision, once the company had started, to move all the fabric production to Europe, because I knew that in Europe I could control the quality and get a really high level of fibres.
And what kind of fibres do you use? So apart from linen, is it wools and cashmeres and what do you have in your
We
range?
try to use 100% natural fibres. So we use wool, we use predominantly linen, we use cashmere, we use silk, and we use hemp.
Okay, amazing.
And mixtures thereof.
So Bernie, I have a little tray here with some yarn, and would you mind explaining? Yes, some things.
Yeah, of course. So what this actually is part of our last collection. This is called a jungle silk cocoon. And I don't know if you know what that is.
No idea. No.
So that's a commercial silk cocoon. Okay. There are no holes in it or anything. And that's because the cocoons are taken and then unwound in a commercial sense. In the jungle, and it literally is the jungle in the central part of India that it comes from. And all these cocoons are, well, first of all, they allow the moth to emerge, and then to continue the cycle, laying eggs, etc., etc. Then they collect the cocoons. They're all put.
Do they fall off a tree? Sorry, this is
They don't actually fall off. They get taken down. Because they're useless. Once the moth emerges, then they're done. That.
Okay.
So they collect these. They all go in a big sack, and then they take them to the central part of this town where they auction, and then it's all unwound and, of course, joined, and then it is all put together and finally woven into a fabric. I'm so taken by the story of the cocoons and the actual fibre. It's also called piece silk. We used it to produce one of our products. You would expect, as it's 100% silk, to shine, but actually it looks like paper.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It even feels a bit papery.
It does,
And as walling or curtaining, it's amazing.
Fabulous. Amazing. And you can see that no line is the same.
No line is the same. And it never will be. When people say, oh, but there's a fault or there's a flaw, or that's the beauty. They don't get it.
They don't get it, no.
That's the beauty of what we do. You can see the hand of the man or wherever it came from.
And I know this is not silk, but this is another...
Is a totally different animal.
Totally different, but equally fabulous. And we're actually in the process of using this on curtains. Tell me about this yarn.
But this is quite a tough one to produce because it's very raw wool yarn, which is quite thick, and the same with the linen. And they're dyed and then they're woven together. Again, it's made in Europe, but I think we've achieved this extraordinary thing. You can almost feel the husk of the linen in the fibre, but yet it's soft. All of our fabrics, from the oldest one in the collection, which is more than 25 years old, still in the collection, they all work together. So we never have a new collection and that's all you've got to use. All of our fabrics will work together from the beginning to where we are today.
Do you ever take fabrics out of a collection? And
we do. You know, sometimes I get it wrong. I get a colour wrong or a weave wrong or a design, and for some reason it doesn't work. So we do. But generally, our fabrics keep going and keep selling. And, you know, we've got very old ones with the latest collection, and they all work together.
And we also have your favourite fabric here.
Oh, yes, good old buffalo.
Good old buffalo.
I mean, this is the rawest, the gutsiest linen. It's so authentic in its appearance.
Yeah, I love it. The weight is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really
gorgeous.
thick linen. But then we've stone washed it, and genuine stones, not chemical stone washing, it's real stone washing. And you can see if you look at the surface when it catches the light that it's got all these marks on it. And I wanted it to have the marks because it's like a leather hide, like the hide of an old African buffalo.
So no piece will ever be the same.
No. And if your client wants the perfect piece, that's fine. We can offer you that. But for the client who's a little more adventurous, you know, we've got one that's got marks all over.
And you can use this on upholstery.
Totally.
Cushions.
Curtaining.
Anything.
Headboards, anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
So you do cashmere velvets, you do cotton velvets, you do linen, you do stone washed, you do paisleys, you do very heavy yarns. Is there a product that you are particularly proud of that is particularly sustainable or environmentally friendly or unusual in production?
Well, there's a new product. Actually, Philip, do you mind bringing me by some if you just bring it round here? Thank you so much. This product...
Thank you, Philip.
Thanks a mil, Philip. This product is really interesting because this is the colour of the flax. It's undyed, it's untreated, it's just woven and washed.
Amazing. And it's a beautiful colour as well.
I love the colour.
Yeah.
The problem is that every time the climate changes, if there's more rain or less rain, because it's totally natural, it's going to change. So you need the client who gets that. I personally think that's the charm of it. If you want a specific colour, you can have that one, which is so similar, but that won't change.
Similar. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a wine. You know, every year, sometimes you have a particular wine and it's fabulous and you feel great on it the next day. And other years...
I'm yet to try that wine.
I know. I'm still looking for it too. But others change. You know, it's just like this. It's the flax from the field.
If it were me, I would order this.
Yeah, me too. But some people don't understand that, you know, which is the reason why we created this one.
To play safe.
For the customer who wants exactly the same colour all the time.
And it comes in all these other colours as well.
Yes, it does. I'm a real fan of this because the creator of this, I think he's the ultimate weaver in Europe in this sort of linen at the moment. So he worked long and hard to create this. It's super tough.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And I love the colours that it comes in as well.
Thank you.
It's a very De Le Cuona
palette.
Yes.